Hey everybody, Mike Linville here from Black Dog Education with this week's installment of Office Hours, where we answer your questions about web design, web development, and online marketing. Now this week's question comes from Rachel. Rachel writes, Mike, my company's in the middle of a website design project and I'm starting to get concerned. Every time the vendor shows us something, it is nothing like what we had previously talked about. Some things we definitely wanted are missing and other elements are being introduced that were never discussed. How do I reel these guys in to produce the site that we want? I know they can do good work, but it's like they have ADD or something. Please help. All right, Rachel, well, I'm glad that you sent this thing in and thank you very much for your question. Now, don't feel bad. I guess that's the first thing, is don't feel bad, because we see this all the time, right? I mean, projects tend to get sideways sometimes, and where the real problem is when communication between the client and the vendor isn't the best, they rarely work out. So the thing that you need to remember when you're dealing with a web development company is that you're the client, okay? Your job isn't to lasso them in. Your job isn't to rein in what they should and what they shouldn't be doing, or to be reminding them of what they're supposed to be building for you, okay? Once contracts are signed, what you should be doing is you should be focusing on providing them with content, providing them with feedback, and then responding to any questions that they've got. That's it. They're the vendor. They should be serving you, okay? So how do you make this happen? Well, how you make this happen is through what's called a project scope document, or just a project scope. Now, you may not have called it that, but you've probably already created one. So when you went through the process of actually getting estimates or getting bids for your website project, you had a list that you put together, right? I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to do this, I want to do that. That's what your project scope is, right? Or at least the very beginnings of it, right? So that your project scope, it's basically just a list of all the things that you want on your website. Graphics, functionality, forms, fonts, interactivity, and you can even include things that you don't want to see. The most important thing when you're talking about project scopes is you got to be able to understand, and you've got to be able to make sure that you and your developer are on the same page when you're talking about a specific piece of functionality or a specific requirement, okay? So let's take as an example an article search. So if you came to me, we were scoping out a project and you said, yeah, oh, by the way, and I want to have an article search. Now to you, that may be clear cut what an article search is. For me, 15 questions pop into my mind. There are a lot of these questions that have to go, that have to be answered before this project can be completely scoped out, okay? So if in your mind it was clear cut and you're thinking, oh, that should take 6 hours, 8 hours, something like that, but I go through a list of all these different questions and I come back and I say, well, that's gonna be 47 hours, you can see where just having a little different idea about what article search means, it could lead to some miscommunications, right? Or some confusion, okay? All right, Rachel, so to get back to your point specifically, if you've got this development company that's working on some homepage design comps for you, your project scope, instead of being general in terms of what you want to see on the website as a whole, might be specific to the homepage. So, you know, if these guys are having a hard time following directions, break it down by the page. So say on the homepage, I want to see this. I want to see a large graphical slider. I want to see you know, a listing of my latest posts that are in my blog. I want to see a Twitter feed. I want to see a Facebook like box, and whatever else it is that you want to be able to see there. Because then you don't have to go back and forth with these guys. You've got a list. This is everything that should be on my homepage. Now, if they have a hard time following the list, then you may want to take a look for another developer, okay? But if you break it down that way, there's any way that you can do it. However it makes sense, but if you can get it on writing, then it makes it really easy for you to be able to figure that out, okay? So again, Rachel, I hope that this has helped you. I hope this is going to help you with your current project. Now I want to hear from everybody else. So what kind of tools or what kind of tricks do you use to get those wayward projects back on track? Go ahead and use the comments form below. Let us know what you think. This is Mike Linville from Black Dog Education. I want to say thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.